This is Foundations of Math and Pre-Calculus 10, Chapter 1.3. This time we're going to be looking at converting between the SI system and the imperial units. And it's really important to write down your units so you see what cancels out properly to make sure that you've done the right conversion. And if you've already been using your units, you should have no problems. Okay. So, you got to notice that the left and right quantities are equal. Therefore, we can write this as a fraction and multiply, because this means we're multiplying by 1. Anything that's equal will be 1. So an inch is 2.54 centimeters. A foot is 0.3048 meters, and so on. And whenever we're multiplying by 1, this means we are not changing the property. Okay, let's look at our first example. A 2x4, written as 2 cross 4. Lumber is used to build houses, and a common length is 8 feet. A 2x4 starts out as being 2 inches by 4 inches, but ends up being 1.5 inch by 3.5 inch after it's finished. So let's convert a 2x4 into centimeters. So 2 inches times 2.54 centimeters over 1 inch. The inches cancel out, and we have 5.08 centimeters. The 4 inches times 2.54 centimeters over 1 inch, and we do the same calculation, cancel, equals, I know you could have just doubled this, but let's just go through the practice, 10.16 centimeters. Nobody wants to call a 2x4 a 1.5 by 3.5, and they certainly don't want to call it a 5.08 by 10.16. And we've kept 2x4s rather than using metric lumber because it would be impossible to renovate old houses if we started using metric. Okay, when you cross the border to drive down the I-5 to Seattle, you'll see that the distance is 110 miles to Seattle. Let's convert this to kilometers. 110 miles times, this is 1.6093 kilometers, and that's per mile. Cancel, and just to refresh, we're using this measurement here. You can also use this one if you like. It's not going to change the answer. And multiplying this out, we get approximately 177 kilometers. Okay, so why is it not important to have decimals in your answer? Well, the distance that the board gives you is to the city center. So more digits is not always a better answer. Okay, because not everybody's traveling to the city center. They just want to get to somewhere in Seattle. And this is a close enough approximate. Okay, speed or velocity is calculated by dividing distance by time. So v is equal to distance divided by time. Let's look at a problem. Migrating salmon must travel along the Strait of Georgia, and that's 150 miles, to reach the Fraser River. Assume that it takes an average of 13 hours for this journey. determine the speed in kilometers per hour. Okay, so V equals 150 miles. And we're dividing by 13 hours. And we're going to multiply this by 1 kilometer over 0.6214 miles. Cancel out the miles. Now we have kilometers per hour, which is what we want. So we've done the conversion correctly. And we have to take the 150. I'm going to use the Casio this time. 150, this is divided by 13. And this is on the bottom, so we also need to divide by 0.6214. We could be multiplying these two together, but we would be required to put brackets around them. So it's important that if you're not going to use brackets, you have to do divide by 13, divide by 6.6214. Okay, and we get approximately 19 kilometers per hour. And that's a pretty fast speed for salmon to be swimming at. Sometimes you need to use multiple conversions to get an answer. And what you want to do is write the units and cancel them out to verify your conversion. Convert 10 million centimeters to miles. It's not something that you're going to do every day, but it's good practice. Our first conversion. Let's convert to kilometers. So this is 10 to the negative 3 kilometers is 1 meter, and we also have 110 to the 2 centimeters in a meter. Then we have to multiply by 1 mile. Kilometers goes in the bottom, so this is 1.6093 kilometers. And we cancel out centimeters, we cancel out kilometers, and we end up with miles. So this is 10 to the negative 5 when we subtract. 10 to the negative 5. That means we need to move this over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're left with 100. On our calculator, we'll just press 100 divided by 1.6093. 100 divided by 1.6093. And we get approximately 62.1 miles. Okay, here's a slightly harder one. Let's convert 60 miles per hour into meters per second. 60 miles per hour times, we have 1.6093 kilometers per mile, and we need to multiply this by 1 meter over 10 to the negative 3 kilometers. We can do this as we go. So we've taken care of meters, we need to take care of hours. And in 1 hour, we have 60 minutes. And in 1 minute, we have 60 seconds. Okay, let's cancel again. The hours cancel out, the minutes cancel out. Now we have meters per second. Okay, 10 to the negative 3 means we're going to move the decimal place of some number 3 places. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so now we have 1,609.3 times 60. We cancel that out. I see a 60 and a 60, so those cancel out. So all I need to do is take this and divide it by 60. 1609.3 divided by 60. And we want to see this as a decimal value. And we see 26.8. And this should be changed to approximately 26.8 meters per second. And if you do the challenge questions, number 16, it uses a formula. And I'm going to tell you where that formula comes from. It comes from calculus, and it's called Simpson's rule. Just so that you know that the formula is not made up. It comes from somewhere. And that completes this lesson.